is Stanton. I'm a retired engineer. I've been a millionaire 3 times. And I'm working on number 4. Money's easy to make, hard to keep. Anyway, this storytelling today is about algebra for life. All right, and the word algebra is not English. It happens to be Arabic. And in Arabic, al means the, and jabra, with the, whatever they call it back here, means the numbers. Oh, you're ahead of me. It's okay. It's okay. Flip it. Mark and I are just getting adjusted to each other. So we'll get it done. All right. And I'd like to point out to you that algebra equals English, and English equals algebra. In other words, if you say something like, I need to know the measurements of this room, you take the English and you turn it into numbers and symbols in algebra. And it works the other way too. You can take the algebra and turn it into English. Now, a lot of people don't realize this. Not yet. You will use, undoubtedly, algebra every day of your life as long as you live, whether you know it or not. You just will. And to move on a little bit, I don't see anything in this room, including you children, you're still children in my book, that is not based on algebra or can be defined as algebra, or there's just virtually nothing in here that can be without being explained by algebra or being made from algebra. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I can't.
Oh, okay. I'd like to point out to you, the girls cook a lot. This is pie crust. Wouldn't have it today without algebra. Here's a coin. Actually, it's a drink token for the Elks. And I know, bad, but can't have that without algebra, because they have to calculate the metal and they have to make the stamps and everything, and it all comes out as this coin. It's all algebra based. A lot of things in this world were made without algebra and then backfit engineered so that we could figure out why they're in existence. Here's a flashlight. No algebra, no flashlight. Here's a coffee cup made in mass. Couldn't have this without algebra. Aquafina, which is not my favorite, but it's water. No algebra, no aquafina. And I might point out that this touches on 2 other sciences real heavily, chemistry and physics. A necktie, mass-produced necktie. And you can tell I don't like wearing them. So. Here's a plastic fork, mass-produced for picnics. No algebra, no plastic fork. Electric razor. Remind me to come back to this, okay? This works on a lithium battery. No algebra, no razor. Glasses. Your optometrist that makes your glasses can't make them without algebra. All the machines that the optometrist uses are algebra based. Cell phones. No algebra, no cell phone. Here's multimeter so I can measure the current in your wall. Can't have it without algebra. Scotch tape, one of the things we take for granted. And a pair of pliers, and a couple pins, and a roll of tape. All algebra based. You just got to know how to figure it out, put these things together. Now there's one thing that you may not know, which I was at the tail end of when I was born. In 1940, 25% of you would not be alive because algebra is deeply encoded in the medicine, and the death rate in 1940 and prior was about 25% for childbirth. So a good fourth of you wouldn't even be here if it weren't for algebra. Believe it or not, that's the way it was. In 1850, the gold rush time, California gold rush, almost 75% of the babies born died because we didn't have medicine. Now we've got the medicine, and we can keep all of you going one way or another. My personal experience was with that. I was born in 1946, and the first thing that happened, I was cesarean, which means that it was a breech birth, all right, and medicine saved me. The second thing that happened is I got rubella, which is known as German measles. Modern science at that time saved me. And then when I was in 6th grade, I caught something, and my fever went up to 106 degrees, and I was saved by the medicine. Now, something else along that line, and I've had several near-death experiences throughout my life, but something else that took place that affects all of us, between 20 and 80,000 years ago, man was almost wiped from the face of the planet. And there's a lady over here at Berkeley, I'm sure most of you know where that is. She's a DNA expert, and she used algebra to trace the DNA back that far in time, and it turns out there's a formula, an algebraic formula, that they can, by how many mutations are in the human DNA, they can tell how far back everything occurred. Anyway, the current theory right now is there may have been 2 human extinctions between 20 and 80,000 years ago. All right, and the last one, which was about 20,000 years ago, they think there was about less than 20,000 people on the planet, left on the planet. And now we've got, what, 3.5 billion? Is that about right? 3.5 billion people, planet-wide? All right, flip the page. Oh, yeah. And all of you can understand algebra if you just do 2 things. Work hard and use your memory. Because once you learn all the rules of algebra and keep them in your head, then you can resolve anything mathematically. Algebra is the stepping stone for all mathematics. Now, I had this discussion with your teacher several months ago about the most important things in algebra. Well, turns out...
Good morning, MIT Academy.
That's Paul.
Yeah.